What's up, LEGO builders? After months of failed negotiations, the tense stalemate between the FPSC and HAEF factions has finally erupted into war. And while the HAEF military is firing on all cylinders, the FPSC haven't been in a full-scale war in over 50 years. They need to unretire some older but still effective vehicles to support their small but advanced force of mechs. And today, you get to see those vehicles come together. If you're ready, don't forget to open fire on that like button, and let's get building. To give you some more context, the HAEF, who are a branch of the HADF military, and the FPSC have been rushing to claim fields of a valuable resource called Comultium. This trans-purple liquid resides in environment-rich areas close to the territory controlled by the FPSC, who also have more advanced harvesting tech, which has given them the upper hand in this race. As a result, the HAEF, concerned they were falling behind, have become more aggressive, igniting border skirmishes, and recently, after acquiring some combat mechs from the HADF, have attacked an FPSC harvesting site, stealing the Comultium tanks, and thus the final straw was broken and war declared. The FPSC, while a more advanced country, is much smaller in geography and population, and so lacks the man and vehicle power of the HADF and the HAEF. Their military is built more for border patrols and lightning-quick strikes, which are best suited for fighting off remaining bio-nightmares. So a potentially long, drawn-out conflict favors the HADF right now. The FPSC do have a large number of more conventional military vehicles like tanks, missile platforms, troop carriers, and artillery, and now it's time to open the vaults and reawaken these sleeping monsters. Starting with the main battle tank. In fact, this whole video and lore update came about in large part because I just wanted to build another tank. It's my all-time favorite military vehicle, and it's been too long since I designed my last one. This is the same chassis design I created for all previous tanks. It works so well and is very basic, to the point it can be modified to fit all different kinds of designs pretty easily, which is important because this tank belongs to a new faction with its own design language and aesthetic that I want to represent in the build. My main goal with this tank is to create something weird and unlike the previous ones, almost like an alien tank. I want to see how many new pieces and techniques I can incorporate to make something we haven't seen before. The engine is located at the back, and I wanted to make sure it's properly vented, so I'm going to build an armored vent panel that will also hold the rear wheels. The whole thing needs to be at an angle, so it'll be connected to two hinge bricks at the base. These modified 1x2 panels with rounded corners will work great to create some kind of vent looking thing. Once finished, this will connect to the back of the tank, capping off the chassis and adding the final set of wheels. The top of the chassis is also pretty simple. I have this foundation of plate with a 2x2 turntable on it, which is where the turret will eventually sit. The FPSC don't use the same camo patterns we're used to seeing, but there must be some kind of method to their madness because their vehicles are hard to spot in the dense jungle they typically operate in. Practical details like lights, pipes, and towing or lifting elements are key to making a good and realistic looking vehicle, so I'm making sure to add as many of those as I can without overcrowding the top of the body, which needs to stay mostly flat and unadorned in order for the turret to be able to rotate smoothly. When it comes to tank treads, I use third-party track links made by Brickmania. They're pricey, but work really well and come in multiple sizes and colors. I normally use the 2 stud wide links, which work best for wide tank bodies, but I also have some smaller 1.5 stud wide links that need to be used up, so that's what you're seeing used right here. This will make the tank body narrower, but that might not be a problem depending on how big the turret is. These treads are a little tricky to put on, but once in place, they run smoothly as long as your wheel setup is good. To protect those tracks from shrapnel and enemy fire, I'm building a couple of tank skirts for the sides. This is where you can get creative and really change up the look of your tank. I've found using the shield tiles and wedge plates can help make some unique looking shapes. At first I was using a lot of lime, but realized it's such a vibrant color that less is more. They attach to the underside of the top plate via headlight bricks, and so far I'm really happy with how things are looking. The design is fresh and the colors blend nicely, and I like the way only some of the wheels are visible on the sides. Most tanks, however sci-fi or fancy they are, look the craziest on top, while the body is just some kind of rectangular or round blob with tracks, wheels, or repulsors. I started my turret with a base of plate and inverted slopes to round out the bottom a little. The turret is the focal point of the build and really cements the vibe, and of course this time I had that grand plan of including lots of new pieces and techniques. It also needs to be structurally sound and hold a lot of stuff, from the main cannon to secondary arms and sensors, so I want to create a large housing area in the middle of the turret to hold everything I need and be a solid base of support for the side armor. The rear of the turret is going to slope down a little but have a mostly flat top so troops and the crew can store cargo on top. At this point, I'm just experimenting with various slopes and builds, trying to get something that looks tank-like and fit the front section. That concludes the main frame of the turret, and now I need to finalize its shape with the side armor, which, no surprise here, is more slope and wedge plate. These are great pieces to use, and the smaller 2x4 sloped wedge bricks you see here are pieces I haven't incorporated into a tank build before. My vision for this is to be a long ovalish looking turret with slopes on the sides, giving me lots of exposed studs for connecting smaller details to the side of the turret later on. Fun fact, this piece is what originally inspired me to have lime be one of the main colors of the FPSC. I thought it would be fun to build a faction in such a vibrant, not often used color, and I had the idea to use this piece to create a large gun barrel. Stacking some regular and modified dark bluish gray 1x brick, I formed the barrel, then stuck some dark tan tile on 2 of the sides. But sadly, the more I saw it, the more it didn't look how I'd hoped. This looks too much like a duck bill to me, and unless you're a piece of bread at a park, that's just not very intimidating. I did, however, like the overall design of the barrel underneath, so I replaced the fins with more tile and added a 1x1 cylinder at the end, creating a much better looking main gun in my eyes. With the meat of the build done, I'm now free to start working on the fun details like these grenade launchers. I've been using Bionicle eyes as grenade launchers for the FPSC, using different colors to represent different types. There are 2 launchers, one for each side of the turret. One thing you may have noticed is the presence of spikes on almost all FPSC ground vehicles. These are taken from the aggressive man-eating jungle plants and used as trophies to represent toughness and also act as actual defense due to the spike's incredible durability. I love building new optics. This one utilizes a black Technic ball held between 2 rounded supports that gives it a wide range of motion. The last thing to add is a remotely operated machine gun, and this tank is ready to go. Or so I thought. After connecting the turret and looking at this tank for a while, the proportions fell off to me. Just as I'd worried, the narrower treads and body felt undersized compared to the turret, especially when looking at it from the front. So I cooked up a second chassis with the wider 2 stud treads to see if that works better. You can see how much of a difference just 2 studs can make, and after connecting the turret to the new chassis, this tank looks much beefier. Prowling through the jungle or stalking its prey across the wastelands of Kokundra, the BT7 Bassilisk strikes death to any unfortunate creature or vehicle that falls under its gaze. Back before the FPSC moved towards a mech-based military, this was their main weapon of destruction, leading the charge in thunder runs or infantry advances into desecrated cities. Its high-tech optics and sensors give the crew all they need to know about the surrounding battlefield, and the massive main gun is second only in destructive power to the Cuspis II. Once again called into action, these metal monsters are more than ready to claim the title as the baddest tank around. Even though I had to build a new chassis for the tank, I still have the original one here, and I think its narrower frame will work great for the next vehicle on the build list. I've been a big fan of the MLRS, or Multiple Launch Rocket System vehicle, since I was a kid, and have been racking my brains trying to figure out how to include one in this new world I'm building. And a military deploying some more conventional looking vehicles felt like the perfect opportunity to build one. I started out by stripping the chassis down to its core and adding a completely flat bed for the missile launcher to sit on. I do need to keep the middle of the bed open to leave room for the hinge mechanism that raises and lowers the missiles. The front will hold a somewhat simple cab which can hold the driver and firing controls. Thankfully, the MLRS has a really basic looking cab, and I feel no need to make mine much fancier. It also has these graded panels that fold down over the windshield to protect it on the front. This creates a rather unique look that I think I can somewhat recreate with these ladder plates. Connected together via plate, they form a slotted panel that the driver can see through, and if you ask me, it looks pretty cool. Even though the FPSC are a mysterious and somewhat unwelcoming faction, they do have a sense of humor, as seen with the decoration on this targeting optic. The missile launcher is going to be a large hollow brick-built box with modified 1x1s on the sides so I can attach more panels. The top is rounded on the sides with curved 1x slopes. Even though the MLRS is a rather plain looking vehicle, I did want to include vents and other greebles where I could, just to spice things up a bit. The vehicle is equipped with 10 missile tubes that are built using a series of round black pieces assembled on a 2x8. This will connect to the inside of the launcher, and the sides will extend out over these tubes so it looks like they run the entire length of the box. To further sell this facade, I placed a set of black round brick poking out the back. Once the side panels are in place, I can build the hinge mechanism, which turned out to be more difficult than I thought. But after messing around for a while, I got something that should effectively raise and lower the launcher. And then I added some more greebling and sensors to the top for, good old detail. Real quick, before we take a look at the last vehicle, I need to build more FPSC soldiers. Up until now, the HAEF has only come into contact with the FPSC Advanced Combat Unit, fully enclosed in armor and wielding weapons straight out of the future. But they're more akin to special forces and are few in number. The most common unit in the FPSC military is the standard infantry unit. Armed with a machine gun and less body armor, they still have fully sealed helmets and masks, protecting them from the harsh environments they often find themselves in. The HADF may have woken a sleeping dragon best left to its slumbers. While older, these vehicles being pulled from storage are still quite capable and match up very well with the HADF, who employ many similar vehicles and tactics. Recruiting offices are filled to overflowing, and fresh FPSC troops are being trained and shipped off to the front lines at alarming speeds. Helping to soften up enemy positions before the infantry attack, MA-37 Chimeras are being loaded up onto dropships and shipped off to the battleground, where they can spit fire and destruction down miles away with devastating accuracy. I'm very excited for this upcoming conflict, which will be later coined as the Comultium Wars. Over the next month, I'm going to build more logistic and attack vehicles and aircraft for each side as they struggle to gain control of this vital swath of land on Kokundra. That's a wrap for this video, and until next time, happy building.